Contrast for me for a second the difference between like a Roofr, and AccuLynx comparatively in this day and age.
Roofr is for like that. It's closer to the easy button than anything I've seen.
Yeah, I just saw that NeuroGum, and you said you have the mint.
Let's get sponsored. Let's get
Yeah, let's
NeuroGum
get
sponsored.
I just saw that they had the ultra powerful one. They're advertising it, but then there's not. It's non-stock. It's like
Of course,
sold out.
because everybody is trying to get their legal drug of choice right now.
Well, I personally love NeuroGum, and I believe there's certain types of caffeine that do better for me.
Yeah,
And I think
and also
theanine.
L-theanine. Yeah, L-theanine is a big one. Like, our brains need that.
And so
I need that.
I'll drink certain things with caffeine. It'll have 200 milligrams, but I won't feel that energized. I think for me, taurine and theanine are the two things that kind of actually like kick the caffeine in for me or something like that. I don't know why, but that's how it feels.
Yeah, that's the same with me. There's a lot of things. I like coffee, but I mainly just drink Celsius, usually one a day. I don't try to drink 2 or 3, like some people, 4 a day. So somebody's like, I drink 800 milligrams of caffeine a day. It's like, that's not healthy.
Let's not judge. I try to keep mine beneath 500, but let's be real. That means 500.
Well, 500 is 500. It's not 800.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Mayo Clinic maximum is like 500 or 600 or something like that.
also, the taurine amount, I actually looked this up because everybody's talking about blood cancer from taurine. I'm like, that's not true. And you look at it, it has to be exceed 3 milligrams, not 3 grams. It has to exceed. You have to have 3 grams of taurine a day to even become close to like starting risk. And most of those drinks are like less than half that.
I don't even think we should talk about the top 3 roofing CRMs on this podcast. We just should talk about like health stuff. Like first NeuroGum and taurine, and then we should also talk about like, do you think the COVID vaccines caused cancer? We should see how many ways we can get this podcast taken down.
It will go
off
viral
of YouTube.
really fast. Yeah, it'll get taken down really fast.
You know, what else gets you canceled these days? Telling the truth about roofing CRMs. Do you think that will get us canceled?
Sure. I think that we get some cease and desist pretty fast.
Who's sending the most of those out these days?
Definitely EagleView.
So that might open up some space for you guys soon, or no?
No, I just had a podcast with Pierce Stormmeyer. They reached out to me, and he's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
And then I've had 2 other meetings with 2 other separate teams from EagleView recently. Honestly, it's a great company. They're very fun to work with, at least from my side, like the partnership side and the fun conversation side.
Well, I'm glad that you guys are talking to them. And I want to keep this positive. And I also, obviously John is from ProLine, which is probably going to be included in this list. But let's talk about 2 other CRMs before we get into that, that you consider out of 3 of the best. Like, what are your other 2 that you think really get roofers enjoy the most? And by the way, usually CRM is one of those things that like people have problems with it no matter what.
Yep.
But talk to me about what 2 you would say are on that list.
All right, I'm going to include 2, but I'm going to say a bonus too, because I used JobNimbus for almost 5 years, and I built all these custom reports, and it has obviously changed drastically since I stopped using it basically 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. It's a good CRM. I think it takes a lot of effort that most roofing company owners are not willing to put in to make it work the way a CRM should work. That's JobNimbus. I think they're a leader, but I think that most company owners just don't. They either come from sales or production, and those personality types don't like details and don't like the accounting and the administration side and the SOPs and tracking KPIs, all the letters. They'd hate that stuff. So when you have a CRM in general, it needs to be really user-friendly for your ideal customer, which is roofing contractors. So I say that because, disclaimer, I used JobNimus for a long time. It worked well for me, but it did take a lot of effort to make it do what I needed it to do.
All right, who's your next one on this list?
The next one on the list is for self-admittedly that, and I think the leadership on this in this company's has very similar values to the ProLine team, which is Roofr is one of our biggest competitors. They would say, though, publicly multiple times on hundreds of Facebook posts, they're really targeting the $1 to $3 million contractor. That's what they've said. I'm sure people that do more than that are on Roofr's platform. It's a very affordable option. Obviously, people like the DIY measurements. They like the $12 or $13 measurements that you pay for. If you're on a subscription, very affordable option for people.
Give me a couple more pros. Give me a couple more pros here, and then we can talk about a few cons, but a couple more pros.
I think that it's a pretty easy use platform, and also the proposals are pretty easy to customize as well. So you kind of need those things. You need ease of use, and you need really good proposals. That's kind of the basic things you need from any roofing company.
Contrast with me for a second, because I'm trying to cover this topic. I want to cover this topic completely, like this CRM topic. Contrast for me for a second the difference between like a Roofr, and AccuLynx. Comparatively in this day and age.
Roofr is for like that. It's closer to the easy button than anything I've seen. I'm sure my team's going to hate me saying that, but that's true because there's not a lot of customization that's super helpful to actually scale your business to a medium to large size. Like that's the feedback that people give. And I'm getting a lot of my information like direct from demos and contractors that reach out to me directly. So this is the feedback I get from people who just recently demoed Roofr. That's it. Starting, great point. AccuLynx is something that you can start out with. It is more expensive. People do not like that you get nickel and dime though. So for like different features, you got to pay $169 for this. If you want to do integrations, yeah, we can do it now, but you got to pay for this. It's scalable really well. It scales really well for any business. There's a lot of huge companies on AccuLynx. The other part of AccuLynx.
One second before you move on from that, do you think that they can get really that mad at this podcast if they watched it, knowing that like everyone just says that on social media all the time and in person? Like, one thing is crazy to me. Sometimes I'll curate a bunch of information about a topic or like about a company, but it's literally just the most common feedback that everyone says about that thing. And then and I've had those companies be mad at me. And I'm like, this is not unusual feedback. I know you know this.
Yes.
It's okay for us to state the truth.
You hope that they know that. That's kind of the problem that I have with like larger companies, like software companies. They don't keep their, ear to the ground to listen to their customer base. And I know a lot of the feedback in any platform for any business, a lot of it, the majority of it is kind of irrelevant or not well thought out or just an emotional reaction. So I understand that. But yeah, disclaimer, I haven't done a demo for Roofr, I don't think ever. I did it when it was like just the measurement tool years ago. And I've never done a demo with AccuLynx I don't think I've done a demo with AccuLynx ever. So I don't have firsthand knowledge of the new demos. Especially 2025. I don't have any of that information. I'm just getting my information from our sales team and our marketing, like actual reporting to see what the objections were.
I mean, I've been in AccuLynx and I've been in JobNimbus and you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
The only one I haven't been in is Roofr. But I do know that they have the quoting tool. You know,
Yep.
it's what tools do these people have, right? You think about their
That's something I
quoting
didn't mention.
tool,
That's a very strong part of Roofr. Yeah.
and then the obviously the measurements.
Yep.
Which originally when they started to come up and like everyone was talking about it on Facebook, the measurements was the best. Like it was very cheap comparatively to other options out there, and that matters. You know what I mean? Like
It does.
those being very expensive and then being way cheaper, that is a pretty big deal.
Once you get to know us, there's no reason to buy from anybody else. What we do differently is we do stake in the factory. You're truly buying direct. We don't sell to distribution. We sell to roofers, the people that have been getting hurt for years. You keep getting price increases from suppliers. We do price decreases. We've had about 4 price decreases this year. ZamboxvilleBuilding.com. We have a new website, the Amazon type platform. You go right on there, click it, put it in your cart. We can send it to you, or feel free to give us a call. We'll answer any questions for you.
Yeah, I don't want to think. I've done the math a couple times. So the number of EagleView reports I ordered in almost 9 years of business, and the money I would have saved. However, I said this when I did the podcast with the CEO of EagleView. I totally believe this. If you're going to save $20 on your roof measurements, to lose $1,000 in incorrect material order and inefficiencies, and you have to go back the next day, that's what people don't really recognize. That I mean, I'm in Georgia, at 2 different markets in Georgia, so we, for all practical purposes, we never had an issue with EagleView ever. Getting a cheap measurement is probably the last thing you should be thinking about. Getting an accurate measurement is the most important thing from that. That was a side note. That was a side quest.
Yeah. I feel like, by the way, these are people in the top 3 lists. So let's do one more. Let's get to the next one. I think respectfully, we know Roofr has pretty good word of mouth.
Yep.
I think they have a lot of, I know that you probably see a little bit more because they come over to you or there's some, but in general, like people have positive things to say about, and in my experience as just an observer and a journalist in the roofing industry, generally people are pretty positive about roof. I think one of the things that they're doing well, one other thing that they're doing very well that we should state is being a little bit more involved in the roof, like really in the communities. And like, yes, that helps your CRM. If you're involved and you try and you're caring and you're looking into things and you're trying to get better all the time, basically that's a big deal. And that's, I think, why also, you know, a lot of these people do well when you listen to your customers, right?
Yep.
All right. So what's the next one?
So, I mean, my 2 really were Roofr and AccuLynx. Those are my 2, other than ProLine, obviously. I'm going to say ProLine is the best CRM right now.
AccuLynx. Let's talk about AccuLynx. Give me a few more, anything that you consider positives about their software that you haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah. So
and
a huge
all
one.
throw out here. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, huge, again, feedback. Haven't done a demo recently, but huge feedback. And we were in Minnesota several times, and I feel like AccuLynx just owns Minnesota contractors. Is the production management side of things. They have really unique, cool features when you're getting to building that roof or whatever that project is. They're probably the strongest in that right now, and that is where most people don't realize that, specifically if you have an installer or production manager that starts a business, he's gonna like it. It's all about building the right way and communicating the right way and all those things. Yeah, that's probably the biggest strength that AccuLynx has, the ability to really manage the production side of things. That's how they're able to scale. Companies are able to scale, really, it's the production side of things with AccuLynx.
I mean, feel free to debunk this in my mind. We're trying to make this as like actually pros and cons as we possibly can, even though John is involved with ProLine. And I'm going to not back down from saying traditionally AccuLynx is the OG kind of definitive. A lot of people consider it the one that most roofer, you know what I mean? Like is the big one. It's been around for a while. It was kind of the standard.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of it has been the standard. So on one hand, you got the standard, and on the other hand, you got the current reputation of nickeling and diming.
Yep.
And so those are the two things that you weigh. And then traditionally, as there hasn't been that great of options in the alternative, like you could also look at, a few other things like I would have nudged people in that direction. AccuLynx has been, JobNimbus is on the come up, but that wasn't originally just purely roofing niched. That was more of a overarching, you know what I mean? Like they were good.
Yep.
They went pretty hard in roofing, but it wasn't just purely, it wasn't born out of roofing.
Yeah.
So AccuLynx was as close as it got to kind of the native to roofing thing. Obviously you guys are around and Roofr are around now.
Yep.
And then you have a little bit less common, but I think honorable mentions like RoofLink. There's a bunch of ones that are like not roofing niched. Even if you just honorable mention like people, there's a lot of people trying to do HubSpot stuff or ServiceTitan is now marketing hard to roofers. So, and they're marketing very hard. And you think about somebody like Lance Bachman, for instance. Lance Bachman is a big advocate for ServiceTitan. Let me just interview you for a second, like as a journalist, if that's okay, just for a second.
Go for it.
That situation, because they have a lot of resources. What is your take on like how ProLine might be more effective for the average roofer than a ServiceTitan, knowing that they are going to just drive ridiculous amounts of resources probably into trying to make ServiceTitan crank for roofers over the next year or two?
Yep. Great question. We've talked about this at length, actually. AJ and I had a whole podcast, I think, last year about it. So if you're a roofing contractor, you're thinking, why does this matter to me? Why does of somebody who's got $37 million or $100 million versus somebody who's like ProLine who has a very small investment and we really have bootstrapped, which means we paid for it ourselves. Why does that matter to you? The next thing I'm going to say is going to sound weird, but it matters to you. We are very nimble, meaning we don't have corporate committees and meetings for making decisions about new features that you as a contractor want. So it's really just two categories. You're bootstrapped or you have small investors like angel investors, or you're fully funded Series A, B, C, all the letters, and you've got millions of dollars and a ton of resources. You said something about resources. Resources is not just money; it's people. It's all there's systems. There's connections to different high level professionals to scale software businesses. Those are all resources. What we have found, seeing this from people who have done demos in the past couple of years with our competitors in ProLine, is the resources really don't matter. The resources don't make the software better for your business. The resources are very good at marketing. They're very good at having the biggest booth at all the expos. That all works to actually sell new seats. It does, because there's a level of trust. You've got all this money. You're not going anywhere. However, I experienced this multiple times at two different software companies that I was that I was a customer of for 6, 8, 10, 12 months. I'd request something. Yeah, we're going to get on that. And I know that it's very complex about all those businesses having roadmaps for software. But at the end of the day, a company like ProLine that's small and not, they're not funded with a bunch of money worth people telling them what to do with that money. We can just make decisions and move forward and make something better. If it's better for our customer, we're going to make it better. And you're not going to have to wait a long period of time for that change to happen. That's the difference between bootstrapped and fully funded CRMs. So resources are great. They're helpful, but it's mainly building trust through marketing. That's mainly what it is.
So I'm gonna relate this back to I just I do a new custom GPT every quarter for my context, just so I can
Nice.
use it to consult with me, right? Like
Yep.
I'm asking it questions, I'm bouncing off ideas, I'm brainstorming with this tool. And what I was putting large quantities of data in there. I was putting our P&L. I was putting our 90 P&L export from QuickBooks month over month over month over month, right? Our 90.io, like all of our rocks for EOS traction,
Mm-hmm.
like our goals and how we're tracking towards those goals. I was putting this huge long PDF of all of the context of my life and my hopes and my fears and even my nutrition. I have a nutritionist
Nice.
and he's taking bodily samples and I put it all in there. I took 4 different personality tests and I was putting all in there. Guess what? It was barely reading any of it because the context, it was too much context. And what I realized is I've just built up this new one that has like 5 pages of context, most important stuff for me. And what's interesting, I think that's what the beauty of a little bit more of a roofing niched CRM could be versus like trying to be everything for everybody, where the context gets lost.
Yep.
Like that's what I think. I'm always like a big advocate for a very niched thing. I think that this means there's more opportunity to use the context from the roofing industry to make what it is versus all these tools and all this stuff that doesn't relate, and then you get distracted. And the biggest problem with CRMs is that adoption doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And if you have too much context and too many tools and too much crazy stuff in there, I think you could lose adoption from your team. And even the people that advocate for HubSpot or these other tools that have some crazy capabilities would admit that there's some adoption problems.
Yep. That's a huge thing. Like a big thing was a lot of people complain that there's not an app or the app is terrible with their CRM in the roofing space. And devil's advocate, a lot of people either have Androids, sorry, or they have, and we support Android, but the mobile app for all Android apps is worse, or their signal's bad. So we wanted to start with an app though. Like adoption starts with your mobile app. It just, if you're in the truck, you're a production manager, you're a sales rep, you're in the truck in the app. So that's the foundation. And then the phone, the actual phone system built into it, that was also the foundation. So it's not an afterthought. So those two things we believe helped with our customer base adopting, the whole team adopting usability. Like our percentages are super off the chart as far as like the entire roofing company's team using the app and using it. Because we have a grading scale on the back end. We can see how much they use ProLine, how much they use the automations. We can see all that. So what you said about adoption is a huge deal. Like we can't afford as a bootstrap company, slightly invested company to not have adoption. We can't afford just to have more sales and then nobody adopts it. They have to become raving fans because the software actually did something for them. That's what you're pushed against the wall. You have to set your standards super high so that there is adoption in your customer base.
So we kind of covered the top 3 and some pros and cons. Let's talk about that for a second. Just a little bit more about like how to increase adoption of the tool. What are some of the things you guys are doing at ProLine to help your customers increase adoption within their team? Why do you think you have a higher than average adoption rate, and how does that help roofers?
So Rilla allows you to listen to it's an AI in your pocket, listens to the appointment. It's pretty crazy what it can do. It gives a script, gives everything they said, it breaks down some statistics for you.
Analyze talk ratio, interactivity, like how you and I are interacting back and forth, longest modeling, like all those things.
This is the shit that I most believe in AI. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Enhancing
You're about to put math and data around something that used to be my magic skill.
So again, people, I did a bunch of ads yesterday, and so this is kind of top of mind. But like everyone's scared of of switching CRMs. One of the jokes was like, I forgot what the actual hook was, but something like, you'd rather get a vasectomy without anesthesia than switch your CRM. Basically, it's like nobody wants to switch CRMs ever because it's a super painful process.
Yeah.
Which I totally get, because I've done it and it's terrible. So we knew we had to make it really easy. So that's the first thing. We have third-party certified partners that do the data transfer really well, really efficiently, and really affordably too. So it's done quickly, it's done right. We have a couple different partners. That's one thing that helps us with adoption because the data is there, right? It's a big thing. We're switching CRMs. The data is wrong. Nobody wants to use it because all these previous customers, all the pipeline's incorrect, the stages are wrong, all that's wrong. Well, we make sure that you're set up as you switch. That increases adoption. On top of that, we have 3 different onboarding calls. I'll just call them onboarding calls. They have 3 different names, but we want to make sure that you have all the tools you need. The leadership understands, management understands, and every single team member who is communicating with the customer is going to have at least 1 training call with us. 1 to 3 training calls. On top of that, we have unlimited 30-minute Zoom calls once a week. If you want to schedule one, once a week, forever. We're going to make sure that you use ProLine to the maximum ability to scale your business, to create the business that you want. On top of that, we have about 30 people on our team right now, maybe a little bit more than 30. I promise you, I don't know the numbers of the percentages, but I know that the percentage of our team that is customer support, customer success is much higher than most software companies. So we train an hour every single day. For sales team, trains an hour a day. Customer support trains an hour every day. Then they have homework every single day to make sure they're on top of business acumen, roofing knowledge, and then why I also do some of the training too. I talk to them about, hey, this is why roofers are making these decisions. And so we want our customer support staff to know roofing so well that they're actually really helpful. So I just said a bunch of things. Those are all part of adoption. Those are all part of like why we have raving fans, because we just focus so much on that. We genuinely want our roofers to be successful, to make the most money, the most profit, have the most 5-star reviews, the best reputation. Like we care about every single one of our companies that works with us. And so all that, people buy from people. I know that we're a company, but like people they understand that AJ has become a very, very good leader as CEO, and that trickles down as every single member on the team has the same vision we want to make the best roofing CRM on the market, and we want our contractors to be extremely successful.
I dig
Adoption.
it. I don't mean to go into an infomercial here at the end of the thing. I appreciate you chatting with me about this though. And I'm wondering really though, the problem is with CRM. You know what I mean? We're talking about the biggest problem with CRMs. Well, 1 being the transfer, but then 2 is the adoption. Is there a number 3? What's a big problem that you guys are trying to solve for right now? Or are there any major problems that you see just in general that are like hard? Well, why would you advise somebody not to start a new CRM? How's that?
That's a great question.
Because everyone seems to want to start a CRM. Like, I don't know, that's been a very popular thing.
I mean, it's going to take, just from a business perspective, it's going to take more money and more time resources than you can ever possibly imagine. That's why I wouldn't start a new CRM. We knew that we had to, I won't go into the whole story, but like we knew we had to go from a tool to a platform. The biggest thing is that I think we're kind of like, we're talking about it, but the data transfer thing's a huge deal. People get really, they get really stopped up with that. They do not want to transfer the data. It's too hard. The process is too crazy. And I totally understand. If you're in the middle of roofing season, it's summer now. Like you're roofing like crazy. So you just don't have the time, and you don't want to mess up the existing workflow you have, the sales and production. That's the biggest. Honestly, that's the biggest thing. That can be its own category. It's not just data transfer. It's training your new team on the new thing, and they're like rolling their eyes at you. Then so, I guess you can talk about education. Education is probably the next thing.
Yeah, talk to me about that. Like, how do you get people to act? Okay, let's get a little bit more tactical with the adoption thing. What else could people be doing to whether they're going on ProLine or somewhere else? What would you do if you're a roofing company trying to make a switch? What would you do to increase adoption? What would you do to make people's lives easier on your team when you're doing this? Because you know they're rolling their eyes and they're frustrated.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even think about software at that point. It would be, let's talk, let's have a meeting. Let's have a special meeting on a Friday or Monday or whatever day you want it to be. And let's talk about the problems that we're having in the business. And then you need to create, I think people don't revisit their standard operating procedures enough, and the like real roles and real KPIs of what to track and setting expectations. I think it really comes back to just what's your why? We talk about that a lot. What's your why? Why are you doing this business? Well, I want to do 10 million. Why do you want to do 10 million? Because I want to make X amount of dollars. You have to reverse engineer it from even getting to the software side of things. I will say this: do not switch CRMs if you don't have this stuff done. We're not going to be a silver bullet. No CRM will be a silver bullet for you. It will not solve your problems if you do not have the business side of things figured out, understood, being super transparent with your team, and then actually implementing those things to help people be successful in each one of their roles. That's how you have to start. It's not about software. It's if you say we have bad communication, we have these website forms that get responded to 2 days later or the next morning or whatever, or we have all these lead sources and we're losing these leads, they're ghosting us. That's a problem. You understand? You have to fix that. There's a way to do that. ProLine can do that, but other things can do that as well. Fix that speed to lead process. If you can't get your sales team to follow up more than one time or at all, or you have no way to track follow-ups, get a follow-up system. Yes, ProLine can do that too, but find something that makes sure that your sales team is following up. And then obviously we want to get reviews. I used 2 other different review softwares before ProLine. There's a bunch of options out there. Get reviews. If you can do those 3 things, if you can answer the phone and make sure every single website online lead source is answered immediately, you can follow up for every single proposal, and you can ask for reviews every single time automatically, I think that solves a lot of people's problems. It's those 3 things, but then the complexity that goes along with your story and your company. That's what I would talk about first. If you're talking about adoption or education, it's more like leadership, and then understanding this is the expectation, the problems, the solutions that you can come up with. Again, software is not the silver bullet. It's more about, are you a business owner first?
I dig that. I kind of thought about it while you were talking. I mean, I have to say, it seems like you're finding your rhythm here as a software. You went from a roofing business owner to now a software.
Fish out of water. Still a fish out of water. I mean, I feel
strained. But I think it's kind of clear that this is the right path for you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you seem more like you're supposed to end up being. Like, you seem more like what you're supposed to be right now. Like, I think this is, you can't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree.
It's true.
And I think you're climbing your tree right now. You know what I mean? I think or you're swimming smoothly, I should say. I think you're in your right space. We shouldn't be judging all these CRMs. We shouldn't be judging HubSpot's ability to be a roofing CRM. Or a lot of these CRM. We should. That's mean. They're not.
It is mean. Yeah,
they're
no,
not
I get
meant for that.
No.
I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't judge a non-roofing CRM's ability to be a roofing CRM. Like, they are great at what they're for.
Yep. I agree with that.
You can keep going.
No, I agree with that. I mean, even I've been a fan of ServiceTitan for a long time, but they're a service CRM right now. And yes, they have the resources? Absolutely. But currently, the instant feedback that I see from people who do demos or even sign up, we had one guy who did 6 months of onboarding with ServiceTitan, and he just gave up. He's just like, they don't have the roofing side of things figured out. And that's again, this is June 2025. June 2026, maybe a different story, but right now, probably not a good idea. They're not exactly what you said is like, don't judge them because they're not really there yet. Like, they're a service-based, amazing CRM for service-based home service companies. Not a one-off. Like, roofing's a high ticket one time if you do your job right. Fencing.
You said
one
it.
time.
I didn't say that one.
Yeah.
No, it's the beautiful thing is we can have this conversation. Somebody can take it with a grain of salt because John works for ProLine. I believe this is what I know. You guys have a lot of groundswell from the support of roofers in the Facebook groups. I see it constantly. You guys being recommended by a lot of people that aren't shills for stuff.
Sure.
They care. And they're like stoked about you guys. So you're doing something right on the relationship and PR side. And I'm guessing the products, based on their, lots of people saying very good things. So that's what I know. And I appreciate you coming on and being so forthright about all these. It's a little scary to talk about all these, you're talking about competitors.
At this point, I'm not going to disparage anybody. I'm just going to tell people my opinion. It's my opinion. And there's a lot of great people in the roofing. The roofing industry is special. It is it's a small community too. And I respect all the people that are willing to, any successful business owner. I don't care if you're huge, medium, small. I love it all. I love all types of businesses. I think it's amazing. If you've been around for longer than 5 years, kudos. Like it's a hard world to have a business, Tim.
I love that it's hard.
Yeah.
I always say, when I was in school to code, I imagine myself whenever I'd get to a really hard problem, like it was like a JavaScript thing and I couldn't figure it out. I was like trying to code at night and I'm like spent 8 hours on something that should have taken like 30 minutes. I was like, everybody else is experiencing that problem too.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a speed bump in a race. And I'm competitive. So I'm looking back. If everyone else is having this harder time, and it's just how many speed bumps can you get over and still keep going? That's kind of the way I look at it. It's like, if it's hard, it's a bigger barrier to entry for anyone to try to like compete at the level we're trying to do it at, And I think you don't want to be doing anything that's too easy.
That is the most true statement of this podcast. I think most people need to embrace the hard things, the things that are uncomfortable. I'm doing stage training. Like, speaking on stage is, if you ever see me on stage, just know you could just totally screw with me and heckle me and I would be screwed because I am the percentage of people who would rather die than be on stage. But I'm doing hard things that I tell my kids all the time. You got to do hard things and you need to embrace the hard part of things. That gives you more purpose each day and each week and each month. If you just mail it in and go to do a job, you better be doing hard things if it's outside of your profession. Like, choose hard things in your life so that you can actually grow as an individual and make a positive impact on the world. Like, that's just, hard things are where it's at. I love that. I'm glad you said that.
It's beautiful. I love that, John. Thank you, brother. Thank you for being on. Thank you for being bold. Thank you for telling us realness. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Hey, John, where could people go check this thing out?
Neurogum.com. I'm just kidding. I'm just trying to get sponsored. Use ProLine.com. Yeah, use ProLine.com is where you find us. You demo all the time. There's a 100% free account You're never going to have to supply a credit card if you're just a startup, or if you want automations, we give discounts for like first year roofing companies. But yeah, all the pricing's there. It's very clear. The demo was going to take 45 minutes, and our sales team is super laid back. If you're not a good fit, they're going to tell you you're not a good fit.
All right, my man. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. See ya.
Bye, everybody.